Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're finally going to wrap up our early season rankings episodes with quarterbacks. We'll do some more ranks, I don't know. Probably going to start them around end of July, so about 2 months from now, but we're going to wrap up the first look at them today with our top 20 quarterbacks. But before we get into that, we might as well, first off, Jeff, shout out to Pro-Am belts. We got our championship belt, and it's wonderful. You actually haven't seen it yet, so you can't maybe say how wonderful it is.
Only pictures, hoarding it from me.
I'm keeping it away. I might just win the league and keep it. That's my plan. But the belt's awesome. And that's going to go to the winner of one of our listener leagues, which how that's going to work is we've talked about a little bit about it, but we might as well just kind of get it out there now. We might as well get people going, get them getting into the league a little bit, get a jump start on it if you want. And to do that, you just got to review the podcast on iTunes. Go to iTunes, review the podcast, give us a 5-star. I'm not going to accept anything lower than a 5-star. So I don't think you can get away with a 1-star rating and get into the league, but review the podcast. Send us an email at fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com or, go on Twitter or Instagram and message us there and let us know you reviewed it. Tell us the name or send us a screenshot. We'll put you on the list to get into one of our leagues. And then I don't know how many leagues we're going to end up with, but the overall winner, all the league winners are going to face off in a week 16 matchup of could be 5. Last year it was 5 leagues. So we had 5 people in the championship. I mean, I don't know how many we're going to get this year. I'm willing to do as many as people want to put reviews in and get into it. So just review us, get into the league, and then the week 16 we'll have all the champions face off, and the winner gets that beautiful championship belt. Which just go to Instagram, which is Fantasy Football Prophet, and you can take a look at it, and you can just take a look at what you could possibly win if you could beat us. But last year though, Jeff, we did win the whole thing. So out of 60 teams, so it's going to be a tough challenge. Other than that, go check us out on Twitter. We're the FF Prophet. The website's Fantasy Football Prophet. And again, the email is fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com. Well, I think it's time for some ranks, Jeff. Top 20 quarterbacks. I think we're going to be the same at the top. Aaron Rodgers.
Number one with a bullet.
Yeah, it's very easy. You pencil Rodgers in. He's number one. I mean, you really don't have to talk about it. It's not even a debate. There's nobody here that could possibly take over number one for him. I don't care that he missed part of the season. He's number one. He's going to, throw the ball to, it doesn't matter who's out there. Devontae Adams, Jimmy Graham, Randall Cobb, maybe Geronimo Allison, which could get some targets. Aaron Rodgers is going to be number one. We can just move on to number 2, honestly. Unless you have any big thing you want to say about Rodgers. I really don't. He's number one. It's just the way it is. He's number one.
Yeah, no worries about him.
The only thing is, though, probably not drafting him because I'm going to wait on quarterback. That's the other thing about this.
Well, yeah, I mean.
That's the one thing I'll say. I don't think he's a big enough, sure shot, number one, just amazing. He's going to put up so many points a game where I break my wait on quarterback strategy. It's not that dominant this year.
No, and once again, quarterback is deep. I mean, you can go 20 deep. You can stream. It's easier to replace a quarterback than it is, say, a top-end running back. So, I mean, I think me and Craig agree. We like to go running back heavy, but that's just our personal opinion. But, yeah, I mean, if I got to pick, Aaron Rodgers would be the quarterback I picked number one overall.
All right. So this is where we figure out what we're going to do. I don't know. We were pretty right on line with each other with running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. I just have a feeling we're not going to be quite as, the same with quarterbacks. I could go a million different ways. So, number 2, who do you have?
Number 2, after looking through all the numbers, I wanted to put him lower, but I just couldn't. I have to go Russell Wilson. Okay. There's so many things that could go wrong for this guy. His line still isn't very good. I don't think that their run game is going to, skyrocket by any means. It was terrible last year. He was kind of running around for his life, but he was so dominant. He was so good. I have to put him here. I think he is safe. He also has a huge upside. Russell Wilson for me. Okay,
we stayed the same here. I went with Wilson, but I was a big Wilson guy last year because I like the value. He's still my number 2, but I don't like the value right now.
Yeah,
I think he should be there, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, he was lower last year. But, I mean, it was funny, too, because I was not high on Russell Wilson. I was completely off on him. But it was for all of the reasons that he had to overcome. He has the same obstacles. So I couldn't put him any lower because he proved all of my, my issues I thought he would run into wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, again, he's not like I don't think he's going to be amazing necessarily all the time because he had how many first halves last year? That's what worries me. He had so many first halves where nothing happened, and he had to turn it on in the second half. And I just almost don't even want him on my team because of that. It's a terrible Sunday experience when he goes into halftime with 3 points, and you're like, oh, he just has to get another 30 in the second half like he does. It's frustrating. So I'm going to stay away probably. I think he's number 2, but I don't think he's. It's just there's so many guys that no one is standing out major, like in a major way, but they're all just good and decent. So number 3 though, did we stay the same number 3? I don't know. I went Tom Brady.
I did not.
Okay, that's why I figured you might go a little different than me there.
Yeah, so I went with the young gun. I think I would rather have Deshaun Watson than I would rather have Tom Brady this year. I think that his upside is worth the risk. Okay. And I think Tom Brady is safer. But Deshaun Watson, the way he was playing, he has a ton of weapons. As long as he comes back healthy, that was kind of like, I mean, he's already back on the field. But you never really know if his legs are going to be, if he's going to run quite as much as he did last year. That was kind of a big part of his, his ability to score points. But, man, he was so dynamic when he was out there. I love me some Deshaun Watson this year.
Yeah. He's not going to be my number 3. I'll talk about him in a little bit. Mm-hmm. I usually, I guess, stay more conservative with some of my picks up here. But when I talk it out and think about it, the fact that quarterback is so deep, if you missed on a Watson, you could pick up somebody else. Right. If something was wrong, I don't know what. But
yeah. And that's why Russell Wilson kind of stayed up there for me too, because he is going to get hit a lot. He's going to have to run around. So there is a little bit of risk with him.
You can afford to miss on a quarterback and be okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't like the price of having to get somebody like that.
I do have to say, and I think this goes for fantasy football in general, it's okay to be wrong on a guy if you don't draft him. If you're just not sold on him and you just stay away, it doesn't hurt you, right? But if you are all in a guy and you pick him and you're wrong that way, that does hurt you.
With a quarterback especially, because you have, especially a guy up this level, you have to spend a little more than you might want to.
Exactly. So you passing on Deshaun Watson would not be the end of the world, right? That's not a big deal.
Yep.
But at the same time, doesn't mean that he's not going to be good. It just means too risky for your blood. I'll take a safer option.
Yeah, and that's why I went with Brady there. I think he's just going to be very solid, even at 41 years old.
And that is why he's my number 4, actually.
Yeah, number 4.
Just crazy safe.
Yeah. And, he's just going to be safe. He's not going to be probably as good as he has been in the past, but he's going to be just very solid. And so, I go to my number 4. This is probably not what maybe other people would do, and this is completely just, I'm going to take my players to avoid list from earlier in the year and just disregard it because I love Cam Newton now. He's my number 4. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what's going on. I love Cam Newton. He's number 4, Jeff. Cam Newton, for me, is number 4 quarterback. What happened to me? I don't know. I can't even explain this.
He continued to run. That's what happened.
I think so. I saw that happen, and I think he can still do it. Yeah. And
all those whispers of him turning into a pocket quarterback.
They drafted him another receiver. I mean, I don't know when I became a Cam Newton fan, but I did. And he's my number 4 now. Like, he's just kept moving slightly up my list and up my list and up my list. And he got to number 4. He might even be number 3 for me. I might like him better than Brady.
I like this year is kind of weird. I know every year running quarterback is a powerful tool to have, but because I feel like quarterbacks are a little closer this year than in past, I feel like the tiers aren't quite as separated.
Yeah.
I feel like his ability to run and score touchdowns that way, and it really does give him a leg up on probably, the next tier down, which I think Cam Newton, he's in that discussion of probably second tier.
Yeah, but close to first.
Yeah. I'm not ready to go there, but you're high on him. All right.
He's done it before.
He has, yeah.
I think he's that good again.
We'll find out. I mean, he was hanging right there last year. I mean, really, it was Wilson and Brady with Watson and Rodgers getting hurt. He was right there in the next one.
It's weird how fantasy changes from year to year. Where 1 year, even 2 months ago, I don't want a guy, and now all of a sudden, just nothing's happened. No, and he's amazing.
You see how the team is shaping up too, though, right? Like you said, it really, I mean, Funchess did show a lot. Yeah. Olsen, he gets him back. McCaffrey is huge in the passing game. And then you got DJ Moore, who looks like is the best wide receiver coming out of the class. He is the number 1 wide receiver that was picked.
Well, and even CJ Anderson's an upgrade over Jonathan Stewart.
Right. I mean, really everything is going in that direction. Yep. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
And Greg Olsen. Back and healthy.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge.
And that's a huge one.
And that's why I'm a big Greg Olsen believer this year now, too. So, all right. So he was my number 4. Your number 4 was Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. Who's your number 5?
I have Carson Wentz there.
Carson Wentz. Okay.
And once again, you're trying to right now figure out what it's looking like. Is he starting week 1? Is he, missing a few weeks, whatever that may be? His upside is through the roof, though. He throws a ton of touchdowns. They throw in the red zone. He was on fire until he got hurt. So all of that, I mean, even last year, even with getting hurt, he ended 3. Yep. I mean, it was incredible, the kind of production that he was. So even with that worry, he still makes my number 5.
And I'll talk about him a little bit, but he's a complete our ranks will change based off what looks like is happening with his health. So it's hard to say right now. Yeah. So he easily could be up. If I knew he was healthy, I'd probably have him up here.
Right, and I'm going
you're basing off he's going to be healthy.
Yeah, I'm hedging. Yeah, that way. I mean, and look at that too. I mean, he missed 3 games right last year and ended number 3. So say he does miss 3 games again, I think he can come close to that production. So I don't think that is out of the realm of possibility to be number 5.
True. Think about it that way. He misses 3 games, but they're the first 3, and he plays the last. Bill, the quarterback that he's going to be, you're not going to care that you missed 3 games with him because what's the matter? You can quarterback so deep that you obviously then just pick a guy at the end and he fills in for 3 weeks. No big deal. Yeah,
and he doesn't lose anything really on his offense. I mean, they're just all love, and hopefully he is actually ready for week 1, and then I get a discount actually.
That is true. It could work out in your favor.
Yeah. And then number 6,
I got just my number 5 yet. I didn't get my number 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go. I'm trying to just jump over you.
Drew Brees, number 5. I know he was down last year.
All right.
I just think the offense as a whole is going to be extremely good. Yes, I know they ran the ball in a little bit. But I just have a feeling some of those shorter touchdowns are going to go maybe to the passing game every once in a while. It still might be Kamara. It still might be him. But I think Brees is going to throw a couple more. Overall, though, I just think he's consistent enough where I like him enough where if I get him up here, the thing is, I'm ranking him here. I think he belongs up here. I necessarily won't get him, but I think you can get him a little later. He's consistent. He'll be good. Yeah. He's not gonna hurt you, basically.
Right, and I will talk about him a little bit later down my list. But I do agree with that. Is at what point are you sacrificing upside for safety? And that's kind of my thing. I think Drew Brees is incredibly safe, but am I getting that upside since they have such a dynamic running game? Well, I don't know. We'll find out.
Number 6, Jeff.
Number 6, we already went over him. That's where Cam Newton falls for me. Nice. How about you? Where are you at?
This is where Deshaun Watson falls for me.
Okay.
Number 6.
And
it's just a little more risk, I guess, than Brees, Cam Newton, Tom Brady. Because there was a lot of come from behind stuff with Deshaun Watson last year, too. He had a lot of first halves where he wasn't very good either. I know I was just
saying Russell Wilson was number 2 for you, man.
I'm just saying the Russell Wilson thing. Yeah, I know. As I'm saying it, I know it's the Russell Wilson argument.
How much is it because it is only a second year? I totally get that. Just second year, he did get hurt.
He played limited time last year.
How much is physical compared to talent compared to ability, too?
We saw a full season of Robert Griffin being amazing.
It's true.
I have to see a little more.
I don't want this to become a thing where we can bring up Robert Griffin as...
It's true, though. Robert Griffin was amazing for that 1 year.
But yeah, and he did get hobbled, and that was kind of the end of that.
And that was the end of that. So, hey, I just have to wait. I just got to see something. If you did, you would have thought that next year, Robert Griffin, you're like, man, this guy's going to be amazing. And I'm completely just pulling this one out. Like, he was number 5 that year. Robert Griffin was.
Yeah, he was great.
His rookie year. And what happened? So... hey, I've seen it before. I just have to.
Robert
wait.
Griffin never threw as many touchdowns as Deshaun Watson did in those games. I mean,
Deshaun Watson is ridiculous.
It was, and it could have been just the perfect storm because the amount of production he put up was insane.
It was a little ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
I mean, he's good enough. He's number 6. He's a quarterback one for me. The problem is he's going to be somebody in your league is going to absolutely love this guy.
Yes,
enough where he's probably number 2. In somebody's mind in every draft, I have one feeling. Out of 10, 12 guys, one of those guys thinks Watson's 1 or 2. Yeah. It's probably going to happen.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, I mean, I have a number 3, so it's not that far off. I guess I might be that guy.
It just means I will never get him. There's not even a chance. He's number 1 on at least one expert's list.
Yeah. I don't blame him either because you do have arguably the best wide receiver in the game, in number 2, if not number 1. And then you also have Will Fuller, who can really stretch the field if he stays healthy. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot to like there. But anyway.
He is my Dynasty League quarterback in our Dynasty League.
I really hate you for that one.
I'm very happy about that. There are actually 3 people that have him as the number 1. Yeah, Brad Evans from Yahoo, Dale DeMont from Eat Sleep Fantasy.
So far in the consensus, are we way off on anyone?
I'm not sure. I'm off on my consensus. No, we're really not. Let me pull this back up here. I just lost my way. I think we're actually pretty much in line with consensus, actually. Which I know Rodgers is the number 1. Wilson's the number 2. I believe, what's his name? Brady's number 3. Watson's number 4. Then you got Cam Newton is actually number 5.
All right.
Drew Brees is number 6. Carson Wentz is number 7. So we're pretty close, except I haven't got to Wentz yet. And you have. So we're at number 7. Who is your number 7?
Number 7, I am going for Kirk Cousins.
He is also my number 7.
Yeah, once again, Case Keenum looked really good in that Vikings offense. I think Kirk Cousins is obviously better. He was able to pull off many good years in Washington where he didn't have a whole lot to throw to. And, now you have your boy.
Diggs.
Which you are in love with.
Diggs
and then Thielen.
Even Rudolph and then Dalvin Cook coming back. Which is a good offense.
So many weapons, like ridiculous amount of weapons.
I agree. So I think that's why I've moved him up here. That's why he's my number 7 ahead of my number 8, Carson Wentz.
Gotcha.
Because I'm just a little hesitant, obviously, about the injury for Wentz, and I know Cousins is going to be good. That's why I decided here, I would sit in that spot. I think I want Cousins. I think it's more of a sure thing. And Diggs is going to just dominate, so Cousins is going to have to throw those touchdowns.
Yeah, and so. I love Cousins. Even last year, I think I had him ranked around this spot, which, you're wondering why with that many more weapons, why I wouldn't push him above. But, someone like Cam Newton, Deshaun Watson, those are the guys that moved above him. Carson Wentz, actually 3 guys. So, but, man, I love Kirk Cousins. And that's why I don't think in this tier, if you will, there's a whole lot of fall off. You can get someone really, really quality. And once again, that's why I would weigh in quarterback or get someone you really like.
All right. So number 8, was Wentz for me. So the only one missing from my top 8 was Brees. Is he here or did you still drop him a little further?
Nope, a little further.
Okay.
So right here, I went with Matthew Stafford. He's not a wow pick or anything like that. He is just good every single year. Once again, they did draft a running back, and they drafted some good pieces on the line as well. But I don't think that running game is going to dramatically improve in one season. I think it might take a couple of years to really build that up. He's going to have to throw a lot. He has some really nice wide receivers. I think he'll kind of do what he does year in and year out. He's just very dependable.
Yeah, he's my number 10.
So right in
he's
there.
Just there. You're not going to go wrong if you have him on your team. And you're honestly probably not even going to have to spend this on him. He's consensus number 9. But I just always think, this is the experts in the consensus, but in a regular draft, I feel like Garoppolo goes ahead of him, and there's a couple other guys. He just kind of always falls. So,
and I think he will again.
I almost always get him as like my second quarterback. If I decide to take 2 ever, I don't usually take 2, but if I take 2, it's usually because Stafford's just hanging around, and I'm just like, why not throw Stafford on my bench?
Might as well.
And it seems to be the way it happens. He's just kind of forgotten that way, and I think he's always a candidate to be that guy who breaks out into the top. If someone's going to do it, Stafford is always one of the options, I think, that year.
Yeah, and
he always is.
Right about here, and obviously, actually, I'll talk about it in a moment, but I think in a pick or two, I think that is where I know that these guys aren't considered QB1s anymore, but I think this is where you get a lot of value, and I don't think it's a big downgrade. And I think these are the moments when you either spend a little less money in an auction and throw it towards a really good running back, or you wait, and in a snake draft especially, you can wait and wait and wait for quarterback, and that is why taking someone that you're just not that excited about, or say Matthew Stafford, completely good pick. But you can wait a few more rounds and then get someone that we will talk about in a little bit. I think this is really where you can find that value.
I mean, yeah, I agree. This.
And don't get me wrong, we're ranking them as where we would take them.
It's just,
but it doesn't mean that there's a huge difference.
Yeah, there's just not a big enough gap to make it worth getting these guys to me up in this range usually. So
yeah,
it really isn't. So my number 9 was Ben Roethlisberger. So just the weapons. He just has weapons. I don't know how he's just going to be good because of that. That's kind of where he's going to fall. He's going to have some weeks where he just kills you. He always seems to. Then he's going to have weeks where he's going to get the 5 touchdowns. You don't quite know what you're going to get from him, but you're also not going to probably have to spend much to get him. That's the nice thing about Roethlisberger. So if he ends up falling a little bit, I'll gladly just take Roethlisberger and put him on my team and be happy with it. I mean, you throw in Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and Juju now, so he's going to be good. And so he's my number 9.
And I will actually just go right 2 in a row because 9 is Drew Brees.
Okay.
So once again, he is very, very safe, but he has Michael Thomas, and he does have a few other, really nice guys, and he can throw it to Kamara. But you could see that they made a huge shift last year, and it's definitely based on the run game. So in that case, he's just not going to be able to get the throws the other guys are going to be able to. So once again, I think he's incredibly safe. I would love to have him on my team, but I think there are guys with more upside, and that's why he falls at number 9. And number 10, Craig just talked about him. That's where I have Ben Roethlisberger. The guy is up and down, and once again, if you really did play him only on home games, like we joked about last year, I mean, I was serious about this. If you drafted him and one other quarterback and only played Ben Roethlisberger on home games, you would have done so very well, except for one game where Jacksonville just absolutely shut him down. I mean, or even if you just play him the second half, where after the bye week, his worst week was 20.9 points. That was his worst week. So the guy is up and down, but he does have so many weapons. I do worry only because I feel like he's getting ready to retire.
Yeah.
So I do worry about that a little bit, like the mental anguish aspect of it. But, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster, Antonio Brown, Bell, what in the world?
Yeah, they have all the weapons there is.
Yeah, he might be the only guy with, I don't know, him or the Vikings. I'm not sure between him and Cousins who has the better overall, personnel to throw to. I bet we could actually have a whole different discussion about that. But that's where Ben Roethlisberger falls
it's Cousins because he has Diggs.
There we go.
Diggs is better than Bell and Brown coming. So, right? Is that good? But the funny thing is, we have the same top 10 guys. Not in the same order, but the same top 10 guys, I believe, right? Yeah.
Did you have Stafford?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah, number 8. Yeah. So, wow, we did, yeah.
And without even doing this off of consensus, those are the same top 10 in consensus. Like, Stafford's 9, Ben Roethlisberger's 10. And they're right in that list. Brees was 6, Wentz at 7, Cousins 8, Stafford 9, Roethlisberger 10. So maybe the top 10 is pretty consensus. That is who the top 10 should be. But that doesn't mean they're much better than these next guys.
No.
That's the difference.
And that's why I think you can get these guys so late.
And I'll say my number 11 is not anywhere near number 11 on consensus. And he might not even be anywhere near your number 11. We might be way off. And my number 11 is Matt Ryan.
Okay.
I'm back on the Matt Ryan bandwagon slightly.
I'm just going to go. I mean, I have him because there's not a whole lot to say about Matt Ryan, but I have him 16th.
And that's where he is consensus. He is 16th.
Yeah, see, okay, well, that makes sense to me because I don't see a whole lot of upside.
I do.
I mean, right, because he had, 2-3 years ago now?
Yeah,
he was just ridiculous.
And the reason, he still has Julio, which I'm starting to like Julio.
Well, I love Julio, but he doesn't catch a whole lot of touchdowns.
That's why I said just avoid my players to avoid list. Just avoid the players to avoid list. It's not good anymore. And Calvin Ridley now too.
Yeah,
I expect maybe a little bit of boost from Austin Hooper. maybe.
I'm hoping a jump from him.
And
not
then
so
he
sure.
still
But
has Freeman and Coleman.
Yeah, he throws a lot to the backfield. I do like Matt Ryan. I think 11. I don't know if that's where I would choose him, but once again, I don't hate that because I think right here you're just going for who you ever think has the better matchup, the better personnel around him.
Yeah, and he's I think going to be. I don't know. I think he's more not a sure thing. I'm going to say, but. I guess maybe that's why you have him lower too. Some of these other guys have more upside than Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is just going to kind of be. I'm ranking it more off. I think this is a good spot for him where he could be relatively solid for you.
I mean, and he was
with some upside,
right? He was 15th last year, and I would consider that just a very very average. I think he will improve on those numbers.
And then your number 11. Who's your number 11?
My number 11 is the guy that always gets overlooked, and I feel like I'm the only one singing his praises year after year, but that is Phillip Rivers.
Okay.
I mean, I love how everyone always forgets about this guy, and he definitely took a hit when Hunter Henry went down. Hunter Henry, I really think, is just such a amazing weapon to have, especially with Antonio Gates out of the way. They might have to bring him back.
Well, maybe out of the way.
Yeah, well, not anymore. Well, Hunter Henry's not going to play, so it doesn't matter. But he has so many good wide receivers to throw to. He's a very, very good quarterback. They play in great weather. I mean, I just like Phillip Rivers. He does it year after year after year. He's a perennial, top 10 guy by the end of the year, and no one gives him love.
I have him 15th.
So
I'm not giving him love.
No one gives him love.
But he's number 12 consensus.
Oh, that is actually, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Somebody has him as high as 4th.
Woo.
That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't do that. All right, so that guy gets to sing his praises more than me, but man, that's a little risky. But, yeah, I'm I really do like Phillip Rivers.
But I don't see a difference between Matt Ryan, my 11, and Phillip Rivers, my 15. I don't see a difference between the two. I really don't. I mean, Rivers is going to be fine. But he always, I don't know, he's never, for a full season, he doesn't seem to put it together. Always. He's going to have some maybe slight downfalls. But that's why he's down here, because he's not always going to be week in and week out, amazing every time. Andy Holloway from the Footballers has him number 4. That's crazy.
All right.
I mean, we'll keep bringing his name up and number 4.
I mean, it feels high, but at the same time...
No, it is. You can say it.
Yeah, it's high. But that might have been before the Hunter Henry news as well. You never know.
I don't even think
it's still pretty high.
It's still a little high. I think
but I mean, I'm glad that someone gives him the benefit of the doubt, because, I mean, really, I should pull up his numbers, but he is just consistently good every single year. And especially when Keenan Allen is in there, which he finally played a full year last year, I was, very, very much correct on drafting him high. He finished in the top 5. He was wonderful. You still have, Tyrell Williams, and hopefully Mike Williams will be healthy.
Mike Williams, yeah.
I mean, there is a lot to like there.
All right, number 12. Who do you got?
Number 12, I went with, begrudgingly, I went Jared Goff.
Okay.
He played well last year. He gets I think a more well-rounded wide receiver in Cooks, and loses Watkins, but I don't think that's as big of a deal for him. I think he kind of builds on last year. I don't think he makes a huge jump. I think he's a number 12, just
Yeah, he's number 16, just because it's the same. These guys, to me, are the same.
Yeah, they're really, they are kind of jumbled in here.
He was solid last year, but I don't think he was amazing himself. I still don't think he can throw the deep ball, and that's why Sammy Watkins failed. It wasn't because of Sammy Watkins, it was Jared Goff. He can throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. He can dump it off to Todd Gurley all day. He's good at that. I don't know if he can find the deep ball yet.
Oh, no. Watkins, had 8 touchdowns and less than 50 catches?
Yeah, but he should have had 80 catches. He was open that many times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's the best quarterback in the world by any means, but he has a lot of talent. He's still very young. He finished 10th last year, and that team hasn't really lost anything. I think they're still going to be run heavy. It'll open up windows for him to throw in. But I completely understand if people stay away, because, 1 year doesn't really make you.
Disappointed in this
Even though I
Cavs
love
game,
Deshaun Watson. So.
I'm watching the Cavs game right now, too. They're down 13. Dang it.
Yes.
No, I mean, come on, man. LeBron's amazing.
He is amazing. Doesn't even have to root for him.
Better than Jordan.
That is just blasphemy.
I don't know what happened to me, Jeff.
I don't either. What is happening? What happened to you in the past few months? All of a sudden, you're rooting for LeBron.
Like, and I legitimately think might be the best of all time now.
He might be. He's in the discussion.
What happened to me? Okay, never mind. Let's go to my number 12. Dak Prescott, my number 12.
Ooh,
I don't know. Again,
I disagree with you on this one.
Every single player that I used to not like is starting to move up my list. This is a weird time. Cam Newton moved up. Even Kirk Cousins in a weird way. I've never been a big
this is my thing. Sell me on
Ryan.
I don't
Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
I can't sell you on it. I don't have a good reason
okay,
for this.
thank you. I was like,
he has no receivers. Terrence Williams is getting himself in trouble. Jalen Hurts is his number 1. Probably Michael Gallup will be his new number 1. He has no tight end. Yeah, it sounds terrible.
It sounds like the number, 12?
When Zeke was out there for the first half of the season, Dak Prescott was amazing.
Yeah, he was.
So that's what I'm basing it off of. I'm thinking there's still some of that he was that good with Zeke. And there's something left. Yes, I know. Doesn't have Dez, but Dez wasn't quite himself anyway last year.
No, but he is, it was also because of their offense and how they ran it.
Yep. Well, and I'm way off on Dak. Like, way off. He's 19th consensus-wise.
Yeah, spoiler, he doesn't make my top 20.
Oh, wow.
I'm completely staying away from him.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. Nah, I'm off of him. He last year he finished so poorly.
All right, I'm on the Dak bandwagon just to prove you wrong.
Don't worry, I do have someone up there, or someone coming up that I don't believe will be in consensus either, so we can have our first off-season bet.
Come on, LeBron. There you go. Jumper.
So who's that, number 12?
Yeah, that was number 12.
Who is your number 13?
Andrew Luck.
Okay, that is where
I threw him in.
Yeah, I didn't know where to put him because of health, right?
This is completely just going to kind of slot him in somewhere that's not too low, not too high. Wait till we get a little confirmation.
Yeah.
He hasn't even thrown a football yet.
Andrew, yeah, exactly. Once I see that, he'll move up, but I have him 17th just because risk versus reward.
Yep. He's a complete just going to slot him in somewhere. We don't need to talk about him. If he could be the steal of the draft, though.
Could be.
That's the thing. If he could honestly be a complete steal.
The thing is, he's going to be the guy that we're going to know, 3 or in the preseason where he's at in his development and in his rehab.
He'll get up there a little higher.
Yeah, exactly. Either that or he'll drop completely off the map.
Yeah, who knows. All right. So you're number 13.
Number 13, I have trying to climb back on this bandwagon of Jameis Winston. Right. I still think he has upside. He still has some really, really nice weapons around him. Hopefully that run game gets going and he doesn't, get himself in trouble or hurt or whatever it may be.
Be honest, I'm trying, but I just can't do it for some reason.
I'm
just not excited. Every time I put him in my ranks, I'm just like, I'm just not excited.
I'm willing myself at this point.
Yeah, I put him at 17. That's it. I just don't get excited about him. I don't know what to do. The weapons are great. Mike Evans, he's wonderful. Yeah. OJ Howard, Cameron Brate, Deshaun Jackson, Chris Godwin, who I like. Keep going. Adam Humphries, even. Yeah. Just name players. They're all there. He has all the opportunity. This one I really got to see. So,
yeah,
that's pretty much it. I just got to see something. And you're not ranking him as a QB1, so
no, I'm not. I do think he's one of those guys, though. I think he's a great value because I do think he has a lot of upside. If you draft him at the 13th as a 13th QB, you risk nothing whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But I think that's with a lot of these guys. So, here, tell me this though. In that, I feel like we always clump these. What is it going to be like their 4th year now? Yeah. But Jameis Winston, Derek Carr, Mariota.
Oh God, I did.
Actually. Okay, all 3 of those. Which do you have those over Jameis?
No, but I have an exact order. Like they're all together. Of course, I want them together.
You didn't know what to do with them.
Never did. We'll get to them in a bit. You know what's interesting? There's one guy we haven't mentioned yet that most everyone else is way up there.
I was going to say, I think he's actually just about to come up.
Number 14 is Jimmy Garoppolo.
For you too?
Yeah. I had a feeling. I just it had to be this spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It had to be 14 but we're both just not as sold. He's 11th consensus, which that's not crazy, but
I really thought that he would be in the top 10 and I was going to lose my mind.
But people do love this guy. And he did lead them to some wins. Fantasy number-wise, it wasn't spectacular. It was fine. It was good. He could get better, but he doesn't have amazing weapons, though, either. Just Pierre Garçon and Marquise Goodwin, which Those don't get me too excited. George Kittle. That doesn't get me too excited.
I was like, if they did, you would have issues.
They just don't. So I'm kind of like, okay, he's fine. I just don't want to pay the price for him. And I don't feel comfortable with it, actually. I'd rather have some of these other guys, I feel like. He's there. That's why I would actually probably pick Luck over him, even take the chance, because I think, I don't know, he could be great. It's just, I'm not there yet. So, that's 14. He's just, other people are going to love him, and he could be amazing, and we'll just be wrong, but I'm fine being wrong on it. It's not like I don't think he's a good player. It's just, not ready to say that yet. So we are now, that was 14. I believe we have gone over my 15 and my 16 and my 17 of Rivers, Goff, and Winston. So we are at your 15. We've gone over your 16 and 17. So
my 15th, and he comes with some worry, but I think this guy could be a huge value, and I feel like I'm gonna probably have him higher than consensus. I'm gonna find out where he's at, but it's Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah,
and where's he in consensus?
27.
27. Goddamn. So Tyrod,
you can be the Tyrod guy.
So, yeah, right. And that's what I think, like Tyrod versus Dak. But Tyrod Taylor, to be honest, he could even climb a little higher than this. The big question is, how short of a leash do they put him on? Everyone wants to see that, the number one trot out there and win some games for him. But Tyrod Taylor is a very solid quarterback that never had too much to work with. In Buffalo, they ran the ball a ton, and he still squeaked out he was 17th last year with an awful team. Really, really poor. I don't know who he was throwing to. And now he has an abundance of weapons. We're talking about Njoku. We're talking about Gordon. Coleman has fallen out of favor, but you still have Coleman. And then obviously the big acquisition from the Dolphins as well.
His name
yeah, I totally did.
Jarvis?
Thank you. Landry. Just trying to describe him, trying to come to mind. So he has all that going for him. And not to mention, he will have a couple of really good backs. And he can run the ball as well. Like, everything, it's just a million miles from where he was last year. And I really do think that he was always an underrated quarterback that can get it done with his legs. And they really held him back because that was the kind of football they played. Tyrod Taylor could be, I think he might be the biggest steal if they do not go away from him in that quarterback position.
I have him 23rd, which is a little higher just than consensus, but it's just like, it is, don't know exactly what their plan is. The highest rank he is out of the 60-some experts that have ranked so far is 15th. He is 15th in one. That's the only one that has him in the top 20. So one person. So you would be up there.
I guess I'm going to be the Tyrod guy.
Yeah, it would be the Tyrod guy. So your 16 was Ryan. Your 17 was Luck.
Yep.
My 16 was Goff. My 17 was Winston. We come to number 18. And this just feels like a perfect spot, perfect number for him. You might not have this guy here, but I think this feels like his spot. It's Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is number 19 for me, so very close.
But that's about where Derek Carr belongs.
Yeah.
And I don't exactly know what to think about Derek Carr. New coach, obviously. And feel like, I don't know, is Gruden going to bring them back to the old days of football? And that's kind of what you feel like could happen. So you don't know what to expect from Carr. He has Cooper to throw to, which you don't know what to think about Cooper. You got Jordy Nelson. We don't know what to think about Jordy Nelson. We got two running backs in Marshawn Lynch and Doug Martin. We don't know what to think about them. I just don't know. Don't know. So
giant question mark.
He could be a top 10 guy.
Yeah, I really loved him last year, and he ended up number 18th. For all those reasons Craig said, we don't have to go.
I think we did a Derek Carr versus Kirk Cousins debate episode last year. What happened to Derek Carr?
I know he was so.
And I debated for Derek.
Yeah,
Carr.
I was gonna say I was definitely the Cousins guy, but
I'm pretty sure that was an episode.
Derek Carr was. And everyone was kind of waiting. And a lot of these guys, when you get to your third, fourth year, you're wondering if you're truly gonna come into your own and be one of those elite quarterbacks, or if you're just gonna kind of fall off and be the rest of the time. Man, right now it's not looking good for Derek Carr, but I do like him. I think last year. I think that's fixable. I think that got way out of control with how bad Amari was, and with the new coach coming in, I think he can get him back on track because I do like Derek Carr.
All right, who's your number 18?
Number 18, I'm going out on a limb on this one. as far as not knowing what he's really going to play like, but a lot of people will be high on him. Patrick Mahomes. I like his weapons. I like his athletic ability. There's no risk whatsoever down here. He probably will go above this because people are going to want to take a chance on him. I'm just really intrigued to see what he does, especially with all those two dynamic wide receivers he has between Tyreek Hill and Watkins. That is, very, very scary stuff for the opposing defense.
Yeah, he's 22 for me, so he didn't make my top 20. He's 17th, though, consensus. He's moving up.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's starting to move up a little bit. Yeah, he's
kind of figured.
He could be really good. Yeah, he really could be. And if I'm to get a second quarterback on a team, this might be the guy I get because I think there's a lot of upside here. So if I pick a second, he's in the second QB range. This might be the guy you throw on your bench.
Yeah.
And just wait and see what happens with him. All right. So my number 19, I went with Marcus Mariota. He did make my list. I'm going to give him one more shot in my top 20. Not excited necessarily about this. No. I was last year. I thought he was going to do something.
Yeah, I'm kind of writing Mariota off a bit, but he is getting, Davis back, and I don't know. I just didn't like the way he played last year.
He wasn't good.
No.
He really wasn't. So I'm just getting not excited about it, but there's still some potential here. So I don't really need to go into him very much. So that was my number 19, but that's why I went Winston, Carr, Mariota all together. Here we go, number 20, end the list.
Number 20. So this guy falls all the way from number 4 last year to my number 20. I did put Alex Smith here.
Yeah. Alex Smith, he didn't make my top 20.
So he's on Washington. He even when he was with KC, he was just kind of a average fantasy quarterback. I think he returns to that. Even takes a little bit of a hit because I think he would probably be rated a little higher than this if he was on KC before his big breakout year last year.
I just don't think there's many weapons. There's just
there's not.
That's there's not. I don't know who he's going to throw to. Paul Richardson, Jamison Crowder, Josh Doxson, Jordan Reed for 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. There are so many question marks. You don't really know. But at least Doxson, some of those guys have a little bit of upside. But he throws short, and he could probably just dump it off to the running backs all day and still get, enough for being 20.
All right, so my number 20. Now, hear me out here.
Was it going to be that bad?
This guy has a top 3 wide receiver to throw the ball to. He's a top 5 tight end to throw the ball to. Probably is another top 30, top 35 wide receiver to throw the ball to. Probably a top 5, I say. Probably top 10 running back. Just amazing weapons all around, right? Sounds pretty good. If you have top 10 running back, probably leaning towards top 5. You have a top 3 or 4 receiver. You have a guy who can make a top 30 wide receiver, maybe top 40. A top 5 tight end. Those are all good, right?
Yeah.
That's some great weapons.
I'm trying to figure out who the heck
right?
you go
That's
with.
Great weapons, right? That's just amazing weapons. He didn't have all these weapons last year, so he suffered a little bit. His name's Eli Manning.
Oh, get on. No. Don't do this. All right, that's fine. Number 20, okay. If you had him any higher, I would probably be like, come on. And yeah, that is totally fine.
Okay.
He entered my mind for a split second.
I'm kind of an Eli guy. Oh, Jeff.
I mean, I get it.
What's happening?
I get the weapons debate, but I mean, even when he had all those guys, he kind of does flounder around in the teens anyway. I mean, there's not a whole lot to like about him, but I do love OBJ.
I have to give an argument for why I put somebody at number 20.
Yeah. I mean, that's not that bad.
He's 26 consensus-wise. The highest person has him 18. I have him 20 because Eli's great.
Wow. Well, I mean, he didn't win 2 Super Bowls, but fantasy-wise, meh. He is going to be a guy that every week you're going to second guess yourself. And you're going to be like, should I take him out?
He's going to make himself a streamer this year at least.
Oh yeah, he'll be a streamer. Yes, I'll give you
more
that.
than I can say for him last year.
Yeah, I mean, it was so
think about the weapons. They're great.
You're correct on that. He did get.
He could have
his
a top
offense
5.
got
He could
way
have a
better.
top 5 running back, wide receiver, and tight end.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's crazy.
It could be good. All right, let's get into it. Quarterbacks are done. I think we're gonna throw up next couple episodes here. We're gonna have I don't know which order, mock draft. We're gonna do our first mock draft in a while. Do a mailbag episode. Got some good stuff coming. We got some more YouTube stuff coming, maybe starting next couple weeks as well. So keep an eye out for that. Just I think you go to youtube.com/fantasyfootballprophet. I hope that's right. I feel like that's right.
Yeah, that's right. I had to think about
I
it.
don't want to send them somewhere else. So yeah, go to youtube.com/fantasyfootballprophet. Subscribe to us there as well. You'll get all the podcasts that we have here and anywhere else, and probably some extra stuff. going on. So just
much more.
Yep, subscribe to us there to get even more Fantasy Football Prophet content as we gear you up for the season. We got plenty of stuff in the works, so go follow us on all those different places. We'll talk to you guys next time.